For Nas heads, it's like having Christmas in July. You know, there's just something about Nas album drops in the summertime that just hit different. And I felt this way really ever since 96 with It Was Written. But before I jump into this review, let's just give Nas his flowers once more for this prolific, rejuvenated, consistent, and unprecedented run he has been on since 2020. Now, this new project, Magic 2, is Nas and HIT-Boy's 5th release as a duo in their 2nd installment of the Magic series. KD3 ended up being my album of the year in 2022 and what I've considered to be their greatest overall. But some fans of Magic 1 view it to be the closest thing they have to a classic. So going into this, we already knew the expectations for them to deliver would be exceptionally high. Getting right into Magic 2 contains 11 songs lasting approximately 32 minutes. The only feature is 50, but track by track breakdown time. This thing kicks off with the intro containing words from Bishop Magic Don Juan, who dropped some game on why he should be considered hip-hop for all of his trend setting, and it's set to a playful circus-like beat that ties directly into that Magic theme. The first actual song, Abracadabra, has this spellbinding trap beat that's a little nocturnal. And my first thought with this track is they are going to hate it. And the they I'm referring to are the textbook purists who tend to dislike anytime Nas raps over something even, remotely trap related. But personally, I think it's a cool, wavy instrumental that gives Nas the space to work in his double time flow that he's been perfecting since the 90s. And besides, he's really talking on this track and going into different pockets. There are slick bars like, I'm a magician, you should listen, never the same tricks. 2020 when we did the first one, 5 album run, not a cursed one, it's a blessed one. By the time y'all hear this, we be halfway through the next one. Bless up all the rappers that we lost. I'm hoping they rest up, back to my roots like Questlove. And I'm thinking to myself, with bars and flows of this nature, how can anyone really dislike this track? But I suppose if you are comparing it instrumentally to his openers on his last 3 projects, then you might be disappointed. Track 2, Office Hours, with 50, was highly anticipated. It's the first time these Queens vets have collaborated since 2003. But this instrumental hits hard. The crisp drums and dreamy soul chops give it that instant East Coast feel. Nas's flow on the chorus and on the first part of his verse is crazy, by the way. And there's some mafioso talk throughout. Nas, returns to this theme of betrayal, reminding us to be watchful for all the Fredos out there. Some standout lines from Nas were, I'm from the hood that started the year. Go back and do your research. I started the surge, that big necklace shit after the 80s, after Rakim. I resurrected it. Chest is lit. So in total, we got 2 dope verses from Nas, and I gotta say, a short and underwhelming feature from 50, who sounded rusty and not too great in my opinion. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to hear more of that smooth Queens flow like he had on that theme song from Raising Canaan, if we're talking about recent material. But hey, there I go, having expectations on an artist based on their past work. Track 4, Black Magic, has this really unique instrumental that is going to mean even more to you if you are a fan of 90s Memphis rap. Hit-Boy went really deep into his crate bag for this one, sampling the vocals in the peculiar piano loop from a 1994 underground album entitled The Havoc, from Lil Grim and Children of the Corn, also known as Graveyard Productions. So having this kind of obscure Memphis hip-hop sampling is always going to be a plus in my book. But this track cleverly plays into the theme of black magic. However, Nas talks about black culture being the true black magic when it's not being stereotyped or exploited by devil. Following this is Motion, and it's an instant highlight, a crisp banger with those cinematic strings that reminded me a bit of the production on Life is Good. You know, those mysterious James Bond on a yacht vibe. Nas was in his bag with his traditional nasty Nas flow. Some standout lines were, dump the ashes in the ocean, get the sharks hot, all black yacht, we made it from the hard times. Yeah, this record is about having motion, and it shows Nas staying up on the current slang, because I know that term is popular at the moment. After this is Bokeem Woodbine. It's got a great title, and Nas is giving a nod to one of the very underrated and consistent actors out there. And this is backed by some dusty keys, blunted horns, reggae vocals, and just an overall playful bounce. Nas continues to kill it with different cadences, and he's flexing his hunger with bars like, bars hitting like I'm still living couch to couch, motivation for the trappers living ounce to ounce. But some of my favorite lines are found on his second verse, where he reflects back to recording with Kool G Rap, and I'd have to assume this is around the Fast Life era. And you gotta love all the homage that Nas pays Kool G Rap, Rakim, and KRS-One on this album. Yeah, altogether, it's a fun and dope track where Nas was showcasing more of his great flow. Next is Irvin Magic Johnson, which has a slow rolling trap beat. The horns grew on me after a few listens. Ultimately, this one's a slapper, something for the Jeeps, something from when you're outside, really not for the headphones. I already know some won't like this because of his trap-like aesthetic, but I don't know what to say. It's bouncy, and Nas is giving a shout out to Ghost and Ray, the Purple Tape, which he coined the phrase for, by the way. And of course, he's giving a shout out to Magic Johnson and all of his business moves that benefited the black community. So yeah, because of the Sonics, some will hate this, but I dug it. Track 8, what this all really means is a quintessential Nas song with this luxurious, regal beat that feels tailor-made for Nas, especially when he's doing some reflection. The soulful strings and breezy electric guitar, they're a good backdrop for Nas to reflect on his impact on the rap game. He boasts about being the father of many styles and also being in his third prime at the age of 50. What also stood out about this track were his opening lines on the second verse. Did a double album when rap double albums was starting. They bootlegged I Am, an album I put my heart in. Nipsey met me to do a doc about it before he departed. So it gives you some historical info about that I Am era if you weren't up on that. And it also shows how Nipsey approached Nas to do a documentary. And I always found that to be super random of Nipsey, but also very dope at the same time. After this is Slow It Down, where Nas talks about moving at light speed. He doesn't expect everyone to get it. Therefore, he had to slow it down for some of y'all. The production here was pensive and elegant, yet still boom bap. Nas had some excellent boasting on this song. Nas like the Nazca lines can only be seen from up high, and I was born at dawn with a powerful poignant style they wanted. So overall, great track about him being this wise Don who moves with urgency and is steps ahead of many. The second to last track is Pistols on Your album cover, and it's another high point with another super cool title. Here, Nas is giving more praise to his influences, the ones who also posed with guns on their album covers. He's citing BDP's Criminal Minded and also the image of MC Shan holding the Uzi. This also samples KRS-One vocals on the hook, and I enjoyed that, as well as the hypnotic bells. Yeah, it's a glistening and perfect head nodding beat, and just a fantastic way to wrap up this album. There is a bonus song entitled One Mic, One Gun at the very end, which had dropped about a year ago, that had received mixed emotions. I'm still of the mindset that it was cool, nothing crazy, but it did show Nas' continued commitment to working with the younger generation and to also embrace different styles. Some folks are gonna just despise that this track was added, but hey, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe stare at a corner in a dark room and play Illmatic 5 times and then see what happens. I don't know. So overall, I'm going to give this album a rating of 4 mics. It may go up with time. It also may not. But I did find it to be enjoyable listen from my favorite artist with diverse enough and eclectic production style. There's a nice blend of boom bap and contemporary trap if you are a listener who likes balance. Sonically, it is a lot different from Magic 1, which will leave you frustrated if you went into this project expecting a continuation of those sounds. But to me, one of the major selling points about the album was Nas's flow and vocal range throughout. His perfection of the double time flow, and also his continued ability to experiment with different sounds. He's clearly having fun at this point while also showing us why he's really the best artist who is still making music. That being said, at the end of the day, I don't find this release to be as strong as KD3 or even Magic. I do like it a lot more than KD1, but at the moment it's probably on par with KD2. My favorite tracks include Abracadabra, Office Hours, Black Magic, Motion, Bokeem Woodbine. What does all really mean? Slow down and pistols on your album cover. But let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and I'm signing out. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's peace and blessings. Nas Hit-Boy Magic 2.